The call of the Hawks can be heard all the way to San Francisco.
You're listening to Pod at the Palace with Curtis Wilkerson on Inside Arkansas.
And welcome in to the Pod at the Palace post-game live reaction show presented by SARACEN, Arkansas's #1 sports betting app. Curtis Wilkerson and Andrew Ellis with Inside Arkansas here with you tonight. We were also at Bud Walton Arena tonight. Just got back, man. Those last few minutes went fast, like real fast, but we made it. And so did Arkansas. Beat Southern 109. It's a lot of points to 77 in the season opener here in Fayetteville. Boy, three guys really stood out. Trevon Brazile with a 25-point, 11 rebound double-double. Darius Acuff scored 20 of his 22 in the first half, and Malik Thomas went for 21. Three Razorbacks over 20 in a season-opening win without Carter Knox, by the way, who is dealing with a toe sprain that they expect to be day-to-day. Nothing that's going to linger too far. But Andrew, fun night out at Bud Walton Arena. It counts officially. We don't have to do at the end of this, Arkansas still 0-0. No, they're 1-0 in the win column. How do you feel?
I feel great, man. Had a great time at Bud Walton Arena. Wasn't the craziest crowd, although I got to say, and I know you noticed this as well, saw a bunch of people that were like acting like it was the worst crowd they've ever seen. It looked like kind of just a normal regular season, early season crowd to me. But the fans that were there brought the juice. I thought it was a good, fun atmosphere for a Monday night at 6 p.m. We knew going into this that Southern doesn't have a ton of size. So we were all kind of looking at those three bigs, Pringle, Brazile, and Ewan. I felt like all three of those guys in different ways were ready for that. We're ready to take advantage of that, specifically TB, career high. Love to see that. The freshmen are ready to go, which we knew. A lot of times if you have a true freshman play the way that Malik Thomas did and Darius Acuff did in this game, you'd be like freaking out about it and being so excited. It's just kind of another day at the office for these guys. I thought Arkansas took care of business. I don't even really think Arkansas played that well, relatively speaking. I think I texted you at halftime and said C+ half of basketball. That was kind of what it was, but Arkansas, you knew Arkansas was a better team, more athletic, had more size. Good to see Arkansas take 28 threes, even though they made 10 of them. I like the volume there in that second half, but overall, a lot of good things to take away from this game. Yeah, no doubt about it, man. It's we were texting each other about that at halftime, like, maybe it's a C+ type of first half there. Honestly, I was a little bit underwhelmed until the last 3 minutes and 15 seconds when Darius Acuff scored 14 points, and then I was like, oh wow, okay, these guys are awesome again. But it's no big deal. It's called playing with your food. When you get into a game like this, at any point throughout the course of the game, when Arkansas decided, okay, let's go ahead and just push that foot down on the gas pedal a little bit harder, and they had their fun. They hit a couple threes, but we're going to go on an 8-0 run real quick just to let them know who's in charge. Arkansas did that. If they wanted to win this game by 60 tonight, they would have won it by 60. I will credit Southern for knocking down some threes. They hit 12 threes. Yeah. Southern shot 39% from the field and 44% from three, 12 of 27. Some casual closeouts mixed in there, some, tough shots that they just made, whatever. I'm sure Cal will harp on that pretty hard because this is one of those games where before you go play a team like Michigan State on the road, you will nitpick every single detail possible to keep these guys motivated. But on the flip side, 10 of 28 from three for Arkansas in this game. So just a shy of 36%, double-digit threes made. That might be a little heavy, Andrew, on the attempts, but they were also getting zoned a lot in the second half. I don't know. Like I'm pretty damn pleased with what I saw offensively when you don't have a guy like Carter Knox out there. How about this? Think about all the free throw issues in those exhibition games. 25 of 29 from Arkansas, 86.2%. And TB, Mr. 60% himself, went up there and knocked down 8 of 10. So some good things there. Maybe a few questions that you had from the exhibitions. I don't know how much you can definitively answer anything like in a game against a team like Southern, but hey, looked good on that end of the floor in this one. Yeah, how about Malik Thomas also being the first one to miss? Arkansas started off like 9 of 9 or something like that, and then, of course, the best shooter on the team misses the first free throw. But, yeah, good to see that free throw performance. Not that I didn't expect this to be a ongoing issue that we have to keep talking about. So I wasn't like really panicked about it, but I'm glad they just had a game like this just to show us that it's in there. And I'm with you, Curtis. Give Southern some credit for knocking down some threes. I mean, they had the one guy get fouled on the 4-point play. They had some threes right before Darius Acuff's explosion that, at least kind of made it somewhat competitive. I feel like if we play this game 10 times, most of the results would be more lopsided than this, honestly. Like, I really do think this is about as close as this game could have realistically been for Southern, given Carter Knox was out of the game, given that Arkansas, I mean, like you mentioned, the 28 threes, they make 10 of them. I'm also surprised by that volume. And when I said it's good to see, it's not that I want to see 28 threes every game necessarily. And of course, I'd like to see them shoot maybe up closer to 40% in some games. I'm just glad that they did take some threes to make it clear that they're BSing when Cal's like, oh yeah, 20, 22 threes. That's all we don't want to go too much more than that. I'm just happy. I feel like that gives Arkansas a little bit higher ceiling. But the key here for me offensively, Arkansas can pretty much get any shot they want. They won't get as many of those easy layups right and dunks right at the rim with just no resistance at all. Like those are going to go away. But I think the way that this Arkansas team can score at all three levels has to give you some, some good feelings in your stomach. If I can nitpick for just 1 second, I would have liked to see them maybe speed Southern up, turn them over a little bit more. Southern ends up with 12 turnovers. I think they had 6 or 7 at halftime. I didn't feel like Arkansas really wreaked a ton of havoc defensively. I don't know how many whether they end up with block shots wise, but I just feel like Arkansas was kind of okay defensively in this game. But I'm not really too worried about it. I feel like they'll get the perimeter defense cleaned up.
Yeah, and I wonder if they would have been at full strength had they had done that a little bit. It was kind of interesting, I thought, with the rotations early in the game. It felt like DJ and Darius were subbing in and out for each other every couple of minutes. They gave Isaiah Sealy a look there early that they didn't go particularly well. But he did a lot better in his second stint. In fact, I think he had like a dozen points or something there at the end. So he was
really
one of the,
he had the 3 and 20, and then Isaiah Sealy was the other guy in double figures, the fourth Razorback.
Yeah, go figure. So maybe that contributed to it. I thought so too. Like at any point, I think they could have really overwhelmed them there. But hey, I'll take a casual 32-point win. You mentioned the offense, and one of my predictions for the game is obviously that Arkansas would win handedly. I nailed it with the monster performance from Trevon Brazile. I almost nailed both because my pick to click was Trevon, who I had going for a big double-double, but I said Acuff would lead Arkansas in scoring. Almost, not quite. So I felt pretty good about that. But one thing I said is, it's like at some point, Arkansas is going to miss some shots or games are going to be a little bit more competitive late, whatever. And I said, I think Arkansas will score fewer points in this game than they did in both exhibitions. 109, that's a lot, man. We haven't seen something like that in a minute. Did they score 100 on somebody last year?
I think Maryland Eastern Shore was the only game they did. I could be wrong.
I forget about that because it's like, is that a real game? But okay, so yeah, I'm good with that. I think I really like John Calipari's approach in this game. I feel like I watched him as much as I watched any of the players, and dude, he was he was pissed at some of those guys. It was pretty funny. He was going off on DJ at one point. He was getting Malik Thomas every time he took more than like 3 dribbles. He was calling him over and getting on to him about something. He got really irritated about some defensive rebounding stuff in there, which I will say, and I'm going to talk about it more on the report card. I need to see more from Arkansas center position. That is Nick Pringle and Malik Ewan. For completely different reasons. I just feel like, and Pringle, he got some lobs there late or whatever, but he had 3 or 4 just dumping into him on the block, one-on-one post ISOs, and he just wouldn't attempt a shot. And I'm like, all right, like these are the guys that you can cook. So I would like to see him a little bit more aggressive from that standpoint. Malik Ewan, I just want to see him play harder, dude. I just want to see him play harder. He's just so casual in there, and he's super, super talented. But if it requires effort, like going and getting a defensive rebound, he doesn't seem like he really wants to do it too often. And maybe he's a guy in, bigger games gives bigger effort or whatever, but he was more worried about whether his jersey was tucked in or not than getting after some of those defensive boards. And I'm like, man, this is a game for you to cook, brother. So again, it's one of those deals where Arkansas beats the hell out of a team and they had, 3 or 4 guys who were awesome, but you can still look at it and go, okay, but they still haven't played their A game yet. And I still like DJ can still get going, and I know they can get more from Malik Ewan. You didn't even have Carter. Billy got the start, and he was in foul trouble the whole game. It's like over half the team. I'm like, some of those guys didn't even really play that great, and you still did this. And that's what's so encouraging to me, Andrew, is you're able to beat up on a team like this on a night where not everybody brought their A game. You didn't do anything that was crazy or like a one-off or anything like that. You just casually beat the hell out of somebody, and there's still room to grow and improve. That's kind of what you want to see.
Yeah, I think with the big men, those three guys there, Brazile, Pringle, Ewan, and I think we've been rightly all over this, that it's really matchup to matchup. It's going to be between Ewan and Pringle of like which one I'm sure there'll be games where both those guys play a ton of minutes, but really it will be kind of an alternation between those guys. Brazile is not going to be alternating. He is not a matchup dependent guy. That dude is going to be in there all the time, and he's kind of the perfect mix of both of them. Obviously, you've got the physicality with Nick Pringle. You've got the finesse and the playmaking and the skill from Malik Ewing, and then Trevon is kind of both of those guys combined. Trevon, by the way, in this game, clearly saw what we saw going into this matchup and was like, oh, I'm going to have some easy wide open dunks at the rim. I'm going to be able to get some clean looks. And he knocked down 1 or 2 threes, but I loved how aggressively TB was going towards the rim. And he can smell it. I mean, he's a 5th-year guy. He's been around college basketball. You know what shots are going to be available for you. I wish Malik Ewing would develop some of that kind of just knowing, all right, hey, if I'm here and I get the ball here, I have an easy 2. If I'm, if they're playing this way, I can kind of float to this way in the zone. I want him to kind of snuff out those opportunities to make plays around the rim. He's such a good passer, dude. He's so skilled. There's a play where he got thrown the ball and he was like underneath the rim, and he quickly, before the ball even touched him, boom, boom, right out to someone else. And it's like, that play is way harder than just grabbing a rebound and going up for it. But he's got the kind of little bit of weak hands, I would say, not in terms of defense. I just mean grabbing the ball. Just once the ball touches his hands, you're a big guy like that, it should be over. That ball should be yours. There's not really a 50-50 ball with Malik Ewing. It's usually 65-35 for the other guy because he, like you said, he kind of defers a little bit. And I'm sure we're going to have some games this year where Malik Ewing really cooks offensively, and it's, oh, okay, wow, we got this matchup. I'm sure there will be some games where Nick Pringle does his thing, but I think Trevon, man, I think we've really figured out he is going to be that consistent version of himself, which is what we've been praying for 4 years with Trevon, of waiting for him to kind of be this guy who just knows every night what he's capable of and can go out there and do it.
Yeah. Are we to the point, the 2 exhibitions and then this performance against Southern, is that enough for the people who wanted to stay in wait and see mode with Trevon? Or do they need to see it against Michigan State? Because I dealt with a lot of that this summer, and I don't blame anybody because, we went to that practice and everything, and boy, he looked really good. And then everything we heard behind the scenes is he's just a different animal. He's taking it to a level above even where he was at the end of last season. And I kept saying that, and people were like, we've been hearing that for 4 years, Curtis, and I'll believe it when I see it, and I get it. I understand all that because it's true, but I kept saying this is different though. And it's skill set, but it's also aggressiveness and his mindset and his confidence and the way he's carrying himself, and he's put on some strength, and it just felt real this time. And I was already convinced, so naturally I'm even more so now. But do we think we're to that point where people just can start? I'm not saying expect 25 and 11 from him every single night, but just believing that Trevon can be and is that type of dude.
I think at the very least, will he obviously have 25 and 11 or whatever every night? No. And that's, he's not going to have matchups this easy all the time. But I think in terms of his role on the team, the way he's viewed by his teammates, and what Arkansas is basically going to ask and depend on him to do. I mean, you think back to last year, there were games where, I don't know if he ever got a full-on DNP coach's decision, but there were several matchups where he was not even really in the rotation. And there would be long stretches, weeks, where he really wasn't featured much at all. You think back to that year after he tore the ACL under Muss, never really got in a rhythm. It's not like Arkansas ever in that year went into games being like, all right, Trevon, you're going to get a ton of touches. You're going to get a ton of stuff here. So whether or not Trevon is going to be this All-American or this All-SEC guy remains to be seen. But I think people can at least concede his role on the team for this squad is night and day compared to it was. I would argue, Curtis, that you'd have to go back to that Maui Trevon early in his first year at Arkansas, his sophomore year, where he was in a situation where Arkansas actually depended on him for points. Arkansas is going to depend on him for points a lot this year. And skill set wise, we've always known that. But I also just really like what I'm seeing from the mental side of Trevon Brazile. I also think he's just a lot more of a physical player, honestly. I wouldn't say he's imposing, but in a matchup like this, he is kind of imposing. And I think he plays a lot bigger than he used to.
Mm-hmm. My favorite Trevon play was one that he didn't make, where he just tried to bury that guy in the rim.
That got me out of my chair. I got out of my chair. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
That might have been better than his South Dakota State poster. Had he have finished that, because it wasn't like he just dunked on the dude's head and he was standing there playing or whatever. That guy jumped and tried to challenge him. And kudos to that kid. That takes some ball. I wouldn't have done it. I'd have ran out of the way. He did, but he chose not to make a business decision, and he almost wound up on a poster for the rest of his life. I didn't even see how hard Trevon got fouled or anything on that. I just know it was almost nasty work right there. That was crazy.
Yeah.
They got me out of my seat too.
By the way, we said we were going to do it every game. We're going to keep track of the dunks.
Yes.
According to Stat Broadcast, which I don't know how reliable this is, they say Arkansas was 7 of 8 on dunks. I'm trying to remember the miss. Was that a Nick Pringle miss? Who missed a dunk?
Who did miss a dunk?
Maybe Trevon missed another one. I really don't remember, but they have Arkansas at 7 of 8 on dunks and 15 of 21 on layups, which obviously, these are high percent looks, but man, we've covered some games, Curtis, where Arkansas was like 10 of 23 on layups and, 1 of 2 on dunks or whatever, like around the rim. It just ain't going to be an issue with this team.
So I've seen there's like half a dozen people that said TB and then another half dozen that said Sealy. TB's, he got fouled on that one. Somebody said Sealy.
That's not a missed dunk.
That might have been late for Sealy when we were driving back home because I was listening on the radio and I didn't see. So, okay, fair enough. I like that, though. I like that he tried, man, especially after let me say this about Sealy real quick. I know we're bouncing around all over the place, but we're having fun. He got that opportunity. And here's the deal. Like, Carter didn't play today and waiting for the press conference, and I'm sure Coach Cal will address it, and I know John's listening in, so he'll hit us up about that. That's great. Was told earlier in the day that he was dealing with a toe deal and was going to be doubtful for this one, but that they feel like he should be ready for Michigan State. Now, is that going to happen? I don't know. Probably depends on how he responds. I will say during warm-ups, he was out there moving around and rebounding for the guys and dancing and dribbling. Didn't look like he was too bothered out there. But anyway, it becomes an opportunity, right? So Billy Richmond gets the start in this one. And he was okay, but he was in foul trouble. In fact, he wound up fouling out and only played 16 minutes. And that was an opportunity for Billy to play like the entire game maybe. So that opened up even more of an opportunity for a guy like Isaiah Sealy to get some burn. Dude, he went in there at the 13-minute mark. And within like 45 seconds, he just had a clear path to the rim. And he shot like this 15-foot, one-legged runner, awkward deal. And before it even got to the rim, Cal had the sub up there for him. And I was like, damn, man, our boy Sealy, he's toast. He's cooked, man. But he gave him another look, and he looked a hell of a lot better there in the second half. And I'm so happy that he didn't let it get in his head or anything. And he got another shot out there because I was sitting there thinking, dang, because I know this kid can play. He probably just got caught in between a little bit. Do I go all the way to the rack? I can't believe it parted like the Red Seas for me. Do I shoot it? And it just looked awkward. But he got back in there, and he did good. The moment I was worried about our boy, though. I'm a Sealy fan.
Yeah, his first career bucket. I think his first career points came at the free throw line, but his first career bucket was also on a fast break, and he was like looking to give it up the whole time. Like he was looking to kind of dish it, waiting for the defender. And it finally was just like, I feel like if he had been more decisive, he would have probably given us a highlight dunk because there was nobody that contested it. He ended up having a nice little finger roll. But yeah, good to see him settle in. By the way, speaking of freshmen who needed to settle in a little bit, I didn't think Malik Thomas was bad early, but he starts off like 1 of 4, 1 of 5 or something like that. 1 of 6. Yeah. So he was like taking, and he was getting some decent looks, and it was just missing him. When he came back in, he also, went to the side after he missed 2 open threes on the same possession. They got a sub for him. Clearly, he looked a little bit tired. When he went back in to finish the second half, from then on out, I feel like he was flawless outside of the really bad turnover he had on the fast break. He started making some really good decisions. Dude finishes with 7 assists in this game. I thought Malik Thomas and Darius Acuff, no surprise, obviously. I just thought both those dudes just continue to look so mature. But I thought Thomas, once he really settled in, was like flawless.
Yeah, what I really liked about Leak in this one, because you're right, he was just missing some shots he normally makes, and he was doing like the over dribbling and taking some of those tough ones early, and he was getting yelled at by Cal. But yeah, at one point I looked up and he was 1 of 6, and he made a couple shots there later in the first half. I think he wound up with 10 points by halftime. But then you look up and he had already had 4 assists and he had 3 steals. So he just continues to impact the game in other ways when you kind of always thought he'd be able to score, and you wondered about some of that other stuff. So that was really good to see. And then he got on the heaters, from 3 there. He winds up 4 of 10 from 3. I love that. Shoot 10 threes every game. Every game, man. That's the kind of volume I'm talking about, dude. That's a sniper. They took 28 threes in this game without Carter Knox out there, and he's a guy that's going to be able to give you multiples. I like it, but it felt really good. Darius Acuff, that run he had at the end of the first half was awesome. He's so good getting downhill. You love to see it. But when he got hot from three and he kind of had the back-to-back there, one of them was right after, I guess it was right after Leak made the bad pat, like the turnover trying to do the lob in transition. And
So
then
bad.
they get the ball back, and then Acuff pulled the transition three. And I was like, dude, Cal is going to come unglued. Splashed it. Then the next one he got, it was like deep corner, almost like kind of behind the backboardish, deep in the corner. And he splashed that one too. And I'm like, holy shit, dude, these freshmen are for real, man. I love those two. It's so much fun to watch. They'll have their ups and downs. Hopefully one of them is always up in these games, or maybe DJ figures it out. We'll talk about him in a minute, but good grief. That's people love when I say this. That's an electric combo in there.
Yeah, we'll do the DJ Wagner conversation in just a little bit, but I do have to point out, we always are talking about what matchups work, what combinations work. Leak and Acuff clearly have a lot of chemistry together, and I don't know how much they've practiced together, but dude, I want to say Malik's first like 2 or 3 assists all went to Acuff, and when Acuff kind of caught fire, you saw Malik Thomas, who is he wants to score as much as anyone. You could tell that he sensed that and was like, oh, Acuff's got like something's going on here with my boy Darius. Let me get him the ball. I love that. You mentioned the 10 3-pointers from Malik Thomas, which I'm with you that like, he makes 4, which by the way, 4 out of 10, 40%. Like you're an elite 3-point shooter if you do that every game. I thought all of the attempts he took, I was fine with. And Arkansas 28 threes as a team. You mentioned the one in transition from Acuff, maybe a couple of those DJ ones late in the game, but like how many of the 28 3-point attempts were you like, I don't love that one? Like maybe a handful, maybe 4 or 5.
Right. Yeah. I think it's about right. And honestly, none of them were going in, but I was glad DJ was taking them at the end of the game.
Same.
Because I want to see him be more assertive. And it's almost like he kind of needs to shoot his way into a rhythm a little bit. It didn't work out, that thought process, but I'm just happy to see him take 11 shots, even though like 8 of them were at the very end when he was clearly just trying to figure it out, because he does need to get going. Now, he did some good things in this game. DJ did. I thought he was active on the defensive end of the floor. He finished with 7 assists. Okay, that's all good. But early in the game, I thought, okay, this is going to be where DJ settles in. Like the season is here. You know what I mean? The results matter now. And so we can go ahead and start penciling in those vintage DJ Wagner performances. He's Mr. Reliable. He had 5 points right away. He got downhill. He missed one going right, and then he went and finished with that left hand, knocked down a 3. And I'm like, okay, cool. Like he's good. Then you look up at halftime and you text me, you said, would you believe me if I told you DJ Wagner played 17 minutes in the first half? And I was like, no, there's no way, because it was cardio for the last 17 minutes there. So he showed us a flash early, and then you could just tell he's still trying to figure it out a little bit in there. And maybe it's going to take a little bit of time. They're going to need him on Saturday, on the road at Michigan State, but just not quite there yet in terms of, people freak out when you say this, but like the chemistry and the flow in the offense with these new guys. It's not a problem of guys liking each other or deferring. You just got to figure it out. It's new teammate. I know he's the returner and the leader and everything like that. But sometimes you just got to figure out where you fit in that mix. And there is a fit for DJ in there. He's just got to find it, and he hasn't yet.
For sure. And it's also like, the way certain players fit on November 3rd is not the same as the way they might fit January 3rd or March 3rd, And so it's like these things always evolve. I mean, there's sometimes you go in a year and you're like, I don't really know. I mean, hell, Billy Richmond this time last year, did we necessarily think there were a ton of 5-man lineups where Arkansas was at their best with Billy Richmond? Then all of a sudden the season starts playing out and you're like, hey, this guy's playable with all these guys. I'm with you. And by the way, like, today was the first, like you said, the real game. Every game, you look at the shot attempts and you kind of look at the stats and you're like, all right, what was out of the ordinary? Oh, this guy shot 15 times. Okay, well, that's not going to happen a ton. And so you just kind of look at the shot attempts. Trevon attempts 14 shots, maybe more than he'll probably attempt on a usual night. Darius Acuff attempts 13. Malik Thomas attempts 15. And then DJ's there with 11, but most of them came late. And so I'm kind of thinking, Curtis, like, I know DJ's deferring and kind of, we said that in the exhibition games that, okay, yeah, he's maybe purposely trying to defer to his teammates. I actually don't know if like this formula is like an unsustainable thing to like, it's not going to happen a ton. Like, I actually think he kind of knows this too. And I think that's maybe why he started to be a little bit assertive there down the stretch. Cause he's like, I kind of have to remind people that like, I do need to get some shots here and there. So we'll see what that ends up looking like game by game. Obviously, Saturday's game is a lot more of a real one where however the shot attempts lay out in that game is going to be a lot closer to what we should really come to expect. But that's something to keep an eye on, just how involved these other guys are versus how involved DJ is. I do think it'll fluctuate and evolve a little bit, but I do think it's trending towards a direction where Arkansas is going to be a lot more dependent on those other backcourt members, especially when he gets back.
What'd you say there at the end?
I said, especially when Knox gets back, because obviously, I mean, he's not a point guard, not necessarily a ball handler, but he's going to be playing a lot at the 2 and 3 with next to these guys.
100%. Yeah. And that's what I'm glad you said that, because that was the point I was going to make there. All of this without Carter in there. And yeah, I mean, you could probably take away some of the attempts that Sealy had because he wouldn't have been playing as much or what. Like, you could do some of that game here and there. But yeah, it is going to be really, really fascinating to see how it all works out. And my hope would be that maybe you have a DJ Wagner that lives in the 6-7 shot a game range, and he's just way more efficient, and if you have that and these other guys are cooking, then I think you're going to be in a pretty good spot there. Anything else stand out to you? Anything else you want to touch on before we get into the chat?
I mean, nothing in particular. I mean, I as with any basketball game, I always just kind of like stare at the box score for like 30 minutes afterwards to just kind of like just process it a little bit. But I got to be honest, man, like there's really not much that like jumps out at me. Arkansas, by the way, finishes with 23 assists in this game. There was a point late in the first half where they had 4 or 5, and I was kind of like, let's get that thing moving a little bit. They were a lot better in the second half, and I thought the ball really started to jump. I also like only 9 turnovers, man. That's something I can really get used to. 23-9 assist to turnover ratio. That looks pretty good there. I like it a lot. Yeah, only 4 blocks for Arkansas in this game. I'm a little bit surprised by that. 10 steals though. That winds up being a good number. 10 steal at, if you're only going to force 10 turnovers or 12 turnovers to get 10 steals, you know what I mean? And be able to get out and transition a little bit. That's certainly good to see. Arkansas had 32 fast break points in this game. And they turned those 12 turnovers into 16 points on the other end. So at least they were taking advantage of the ones that they did have. We'll give them credit for that. 20 of those fast break points came in the second half. Yeah, so I mean, it's like they clearly settled in. Once the pace of the game got established, Arkansas got more and more comfortable as it went on. Yeah,
for sure. Did we bury the lead though? Big Elmer, he's on the board. Okay, he has a point, a regular season point. Okay.
Oh, wow. I did not notice. I'm not going to lie to you, Curtis. We both were cutting it close, getting back to our houses in time for this. I missed Elmer's point. I was already out by that
free throws, man. Yeah.
Holy cow.
Good on him. And he got a touch in there a little bit later. I thought he was going to get a bucket, but it kind of fumbled, and it is what it is. Amir Brown, I was hoping that he would get a shot off. Didn't. That's okay. So, and by the way, it was Sealy. He did the thing where you're up 30 and then he went and scored as time expired at the end of the game there.
That. Well, it's funny. I saw somebody, I think this has happened multiple times now where Daniel Shee will tweet out the final score. He did it the other day with women's basketball where he tweets out the final score and then there was a foul with 0.3 seconds left trying to get that tweet off. And I think he did it again because I literally said to Hillary as we got home, I was like, yeah, final was 107-77. And then, when I got in South Stabrock, I was like, 109, I guess there was a bucket late, huh? That explains that.
Okay. Yeah. Jumping the gun, Mr. Shee. I see. Hey, folks, if you're tired of juggling insurance companies, you know the drill. Just find the right coverage at OZK Insurance in Rogers, where they make insurance simple again. As a 100% independent agency, they shop the entire marketplace to deliver the best combination of cost and coverage, saving you both time and money. Whether it's home, auto, boat, motorcycle, life, or commercial insurance, you name it, their friendly team has access to a wide range of flexible options designed just for you. They serve Northwest and Central Arkansas, including Bentonville, Centerton, Fayetteville, Little Rock, Hot Springs, Springdale, and beyond. So let OZK Insurance be the trusted advisor you never knew you needed. Start today with a free online quote at ozkinsurance.com or call 479-715-4200. It's OZK Insurance, protection made simple. That's Walter Christmas Lighting of Arkansas. I wasn't going to do that read just then, but I accidentally pulled it up, so we're going to do it. I've been texting Brett, by the way. You guys know I have my Halloween lights. And he's been hitting me up about the Christmas lights. We're trying to figure out right now if we're going to go with the traditional, the reds and greens, the Christmas colors, or if we're going to ice it out, the blues and the whites and everything. He's sending me mock-ups for both, and that's what he'll do for you. if you hit them up. They really make it easy on you. Text our guy Brett 479-459-1380, and he'll give you a quote and talk to you about it today. They do everything, any color, any pattern. They do all the installation. They do the maintenance. They do the takedowns. In January, it's completely hassle-free. It's Walter Christmas Lighting of Arkansas, your local holiday lighting experts. Okay.
Before we get into the chat, Curtis.
Yeah.
Can I read you a few collegiate basketball scores from around the country?
Please do, because I have no idea about anything that's happened.
Well, the one that just jumped out to me like right off as I was scanning, Maryland Eastern Shore, who we just referenced for being the worst team we've seen Arkansas play in the last decade. They are currently up 46-45 at Georgia Tech.
What?
Just interesting behavior there.
Okay.
Auburn just regained the lead. They are up 69-68 against Bethune-Cookman with 5:27 left.
Bethune-Cookman, the team picked above Southern in the SWAC, by the way. Okay.
So, hey, that's a legit squad there. A couple Arkansas opponents. Baylor, they're up 72-57 against Rio Grande Valley. Good for them. Houston, deep into the second half, 59-38 with about 11 minutes to go. So they are in an absolute slugfest with C.J. McCollum's old school. And I think that's probably it in terms of, like, notable ones.
What's up with Florida,
Arizona? Arizona, where are they at? There's so many games to sift through. Who's Arizona playing?
Florida.
Oh, they beat Florida. Or they beat Florida. 93-87.
Okay.
Yeah, 93-87. By the way, Oklahoma, 45-44 against St. Francis at halftime.
What in the world is going on? Tennessee, I saw they were tight with Mercer early. Did they go ahead and pull away and blow those dudes out?
Let me just go ahead and pull up the SEC because I've got it like where it's like showing all the D1 scores, which is just information overload. Yeah, 76-61 for Mercer. Casual
work. Anybody got that Boogie flan? I saw a bunch of people talking about Boogie in this chat. I know they're probably salty because of some of the things that came out of his mouth in that interview. I wonder how he wound up doing in that game. I can't wait to get off here and look. I want to see the highlights.
Would you like to know exactly what his stat line was?
Yeah, I would.
9 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists on 3 of 9 shooting. Did not turn the ball over, which he does not do, by the way. Thing that Boogie doesn't do is turn. He will miss a pull-up jumper, but he will not turn the ball over. But not going to be one that will shut up Razorback fans.
Imagine having Boogie Flans to Darius Acuff. Anyway, moving on to the chat. Heartbroken Hog says, this is the best Razorback offense since when? It's been a minute.
I'm going to be honest with you. You want to know what the actual answer to this question is, in my opinion? Although last year's team actually by the end of the year may actually qualify as this. Musselman's first team, which actually was not going to make the tournament, I think that was his best offensive team. When you had Mason Jones and Isaiah Joe when he was healthy, you had that great shooting backcourt. I would have to go look at the numbers. Off the top of my head, I feel like that's probably the best statistical offense we've seen in the last, decade or so. You'd have to go back to like Daryl Macon time.
Yeah, they've been some hard watches, man. The last few years here, they would have their moments, but man, there were times where it would really, really drive us crazy. But yeah, it's been several years since Arkansas's had an offensive team like this, and I think it's got staying power as well. I'm seeing some videos pop up here. Let's listen to a couple of these from Cal, and then we'll get back into the chat because I know everybody wants to hear what's going on with Carter Knox, and I see that up here. So I'll go ahead and pull it up, and we'll see what Cal had to say about Carter.
Probably have to wait. He's got one more day off. We have a day off tomorrow. But if you can't practice Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, then you can't play. What, you're going to be able to go 70% in that game? Can't do it. If you're not healthy enough to go, then you shouldn't go. We'll play with who we have.
Well, I got to be honest with you. I don't like anything about that. I don't like anything that he just said there. But that's what Cal does, man. Carter could be 100%, and he wouldn't say, yeah, he's good. He'll be back for Michigan State. Mm-hmm. So is what it is.
It did seem like a direct challenge to get Carter to practice. I mean, listen, I love when I actually do love when coaches do that, where they're like, you want X to happen? Well, then Y needs to happen. And, it's very clear for Carter. Hey, you got, I guess, how many, they'll practice 3 times between now and Saturday, mm-hmm. 3 real practices. Yeah, just participate in those, Carter. That's all it takes.
Yeah, that's all we're asking. I would let Carter play at 70% in that game. I might not play him 35 minutes, but I would love to have him available, man. I think back to last year when Jonas, we were kind of wondering if maybe his foot had been amputated. And Cal was begging him, like, dude, can you give me 10 minutes? You know, can you give me 4 minutes in each half, whatever? And they did that in that Baylor game, the second game of the year. I'm not saying do that with Carter because you don't want it to be something that lingers and you're a little bit deeper this year, but hopefully he's good there. Cal said what he said there at the press conference, and you never know. Like it's going to depend on how you feel and how it looks at practice. Do you have any setbacks, whatever? How's the treatment go? But I was told the expectation was that he would be okay for Michigan State. So we'll see. But it's not something I don't think it's something that they're being coy about where it's like, oh, he's actually going to miss 2 to 3 weeks or whatever. And we're just going to stay day to day and we're going to do the gamesmanship thing with Michigan State. They're very hopeful and expecting that he'll be available. So we'll see what practice looks like the next few days.
For whatever it's worth, and it isn't worth much, Carter was a giggle box tonight.
He was,
around, just laughing it up and, having great bonds with his teammates. But every time I looked down at Carter Knox, he was giggling with somebody.
Yeah.
So
he was vibing in pregame and during warm-ups and everything. Didn't look like a guy that was super upset about his situation. So I think he'll be okay there. We got one more clip that we'll play and then we'll get into the chat here, but it's just Cal, maybe his overall thoughts on the game. I'm very interested to see what he has to say about this because he was super animated for a game that Arkansas won by 32 points.
Well, first of all, there's a lot of good that came from this game, but there's a lot of stuff that we got to teach and let them understand you can't do this. If that was a 15-point game and we reverted back to summer basketball like we did defensively, playing on the side, not helping, not rebounding, then all of a sudden it's a 3-point game and you lose. And so when you have a chance to bury somebody, forget about the score. You just keep it going. So you don't have to worry about those things. They don't understand that right now. Second thing, we gave up 12 threes. 12. And one guy gave up 4. Are you going to figure out that maybe you got to get closer to make the guy drive? Or you're running back and the guy stops and you just keep running back like it's okay, shoot it. And the guy, what are you doing? We leave people. We gambled. And every time we gambled, they threw and they made a 3. That team will win their league. They're picked again. They won it last year. They had a bunch of seniors. For a while, we were really doing some good stuff. And then we just kind of let go of the gas, let go of the rope, so to speak. But there was a lot of good. 23 turns and only 9 or 23 assists and only 9 turnovers in a fast game like that. Pretty good.
All right. Fair enough. Yeah, that's about right. That's how I felt. I don't know about letting go of the rope, but taking your foot off the gas a little bit, like they could have just absolutely pounded those guys. It was casual. And when you're in a game like that, to me, it was obvious, like 90 seconds in, where this could be headed. And you got to think the guys on the floor sensed that too. So yeah, they were gambling a little bit, being a little bit casual, but you gamble because, dude, I could get this steal and I can go get myself a highlight. We can throw that lob, we can get that dunk. And if I get burned on it, are they really going to be able to burn me? Like, is it really going to cost us that much? That's part of the mentality that you have with a young team in games like this. So I'm glad that he called it out and brought it up. My question to you is, he said they had one guy who gave up 4 of those threes. It was either DJ or Darius Acuff.
I'm inclined to believe it was Darius Acuff. I could be wrong.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember. I mean, I'm sure DJ. I would really have to go back and look, but
DJ got popped on a couple.
Darius giving up a couple.
Me too. And because I wrote it down in my notes twice about Acuff, and it's like, lazy closeout, hand down, man down. But then he would like block a 3 or really contest one. And I thought he had a couple that he altered. And I was like, okay. And it's just like this. It's the same thing with me for Acuff all the time, where I'm like, oh, he's really struggling to keep guys in front of him, defensively. But then he makes a great play on the defensive end. So it's just a little bit up and down. I think he was probably the guy, but yeah, it was definitely either him or DJ. And then Billy had the one that was really annoying. There's like 3 seconds left on the shot clock, a baseline inbounds, and he just kind of casually runs out there and fouls the dude. He makes the 3 for the 4-point play, and I'm like, come on, man. Little things like that they wouldn't do in a more competitive game, but I like that Cal's not letting it slip in a game that you're beating the crap out of somebody.
I'm not gonna do the thing where I like congratulate a guy for doing his job, but like I do actually love, because I mean Cal, we love the guy. There's times Cal himself gets a little lackadaisical, gets a little, free flowing. I'm glad, one, that he showed up to the press conference. You remember when we used to get upset about that?
Yeah.
I'm glad he was there, but also it's like, yeah, bring these guys down a peg. Like, clearly, I mean, they have a much tougher test on Saturday. Like, you can't have these guys feeling too good about themselves, honestly. And so I like that. And I got to be honest, now that I'm really thinking about it, like, one, Arkansas defended the three-point line really well in the two exhibitions, which, we'll see how good either of those teams are beyond the arc. Just logistically, they shouldn't be a bad three-point defense. Like, there's a lot of length out there. Guys like Trevon that can literally block threes, like I feel like, and their bigs are fairly switchable as well. So it's not like one of those things where their bigs are going to constantly get switched onto ball screens and, now they're guarding a guard out there and they're going to, it's like, I feel like they should on paper be pretty good around the three-point line defensively. So that was a little frustrating, and I'm glad to see Cal pissed off about it.
Yeah, me too, man. Me too. Good on Cal. I like that a lot. I see we got some other videos that are getting uploaded here, but we'll go through some of the chats, and then once we get a handle on what those are, we'll play them a little bit later here. We'll start with the super chats, and we'll work our way through some others. My man Cody James, we appreciate you, buddy. He says, "Golder, I miss basketball. We good, man. Holy crap. Yeah, this is a very good team. I mean, they're super talented. And again, it's like John Calipari wasn't even that happy with their performance after this game. And I kind of walked away from it going, nah, like they definitely didn't play their A game. Like, there's a lot that they could have done. There's a handful of guys that could have been better. Signs of a good team. That now you got to get all those things to click, like you don't want it to still be inconsistent with certain guys or certain areas of the game. But when you're able to do the things that we've seen them do so far and have so many areas that you can improve on, that's a sign of a team that's capable of doing some special things. Doesn't guarantee it, but it means you got it in you, I think, at least.
I always view games through a very dumb mindset of the point spread, and the point spread in this game on Saracen was 26.5, 27.5, right around there. And Arkansas obviously covered that. And so you kind of think about it like, if you cover by 5 or 6 points, that means you probably played, above your expectations or whatever. And I don't think that was the case. And this goes back to our Ken Palm and ESPN BPI things. Like, y'all gonna have to adjust that algorithm, man. Arkansas is gonna beat some teams by like 53. Like, they're going to beat some teams bad. I'll be interested to see how good Southern ends up being. I know we do that a lot of times where we're like, this team's gonna be scrappy, and then they wind up sucking. But like, what if Southern really does end up being like a, top 150 BPI type of team?
Yeah, exactly. And they very well may be. So we'll see. I can't wait to go look at like all the adjusted thing, because it's the first game, so everything's going to be skewed. It's like, damn, they scored 109 and they covered the expected result and all that. So we might look up and Arkansas is like top 10 offense in the country and everything. And sign me up for that, man. Can't wait. Hairless Hog, I love this, says we scored 109 sleepwalking. Low key, you kind of did. Like, there were moments throughout the game. It's like that Eric Musselman spurt ability where, Leak hits a couple threes back to back. Acuff hits, he scores 14 in 3 minutes. Trevon's doing his thing. But for large stretches, they were just kind of going through the motions out there and getting whatever they wanted whenever they wanted. They shot a ton of free throws and made them. Thank you for doing that and proving that you can. But it wasn't like they were playing with their hair lit on fire. And you wouldn't be either because you're a hairless hog. But Hayden Ulmer, we appreciate you, buddy. He says, I can already taste that spicy cocktail sauce from St. Elmo's.
At Indy?
Yeah.
I'm just going to do the thing from now on, because you and John, you know how you love to do the thing where y'all had a great experience and y'all are like, oh, dude, this experience we had without you, Andrew, it was the best thing ever. I'm just going to pretend like I know these things and be like, oh, yeah, Elmo's. Dude, St. Elmo's, man. That's a great time.
As you should. Yeah, just pretend you were there for all those things. We're not going to tell anybody any differently.
I can Photoshop myself into some of the pictures too.
Yeah. Hickory Hog 94, thank you, says Acuff over 16.5, Brazile over 8.5, and DJ under 12.5 for single game parlay at plus 550. It's been a hell of a Monday, fellas. Woo MF big.
Love that. Also, congrats to everybody who bet on all the Trevon Brazile props. Congratulations, your grandchildren can go to whatever college they want. Trevon, there was like 9 Trevon Brazile props on Saracen, and he cashed them all, I believe.
Yeah, he did his job. He definitely did his job. You'll love to see it. Butternut Squash says ESPN BPI has us 43rd and projected to go 16-15, only the best from the worldwide leader in sports. Yeah, those guys are idiots. We talked about that a little bit on Inside Arkansas Live, but If you're, I understand it's not humans, it's their computers, right? It's their formulas, their algorithms, whatever. But if it's spitting that out, fix it, right? Like, wouldn't you look at some of these things and be like, okay, this doesn't make sense. We're 40 spots lower on Arkansas than everybody else. Why might that be the case? Do we need to tweak something here? It's absurd, man.
I cannot stand. I know Ken Palm runs into this a lot of times too, because people will go to Ken Palm and be like, "How the hell do you have whatever?" And he'll just be like, "Oh, it's just a computer algorithm thing," which I do understand. I'm sure that frustrates them a lot. At the same time, you can't just use that as a cop out of like, "Oh, it's the numbers. My numbers said that this team, who's very clearly good, sucks. It's not my fault. It's just the numbers." I'm like, that's what, like you said, there should maybe be some tweaking of like, or you should at least be able to go in and look at some of these specific teams and be like, what is it that the numbers specifically are saying about them that they don't like? And maybe I'm weighting it too much here. Like, I don't know, but I hate when by the way, and I love Josh Payton. I'm critical of him all the time, so it sounds like I don't love Josh Payton. I do love him. He does that too with his ratings, because people always get confused, like, oh, whatever. And he's like, no, it's just a rating system. I'm like,
it's neutral field favorability, nothing else.
Yeah, and I'm like, well, like, it doesn't make it correct.
Right, exactly. Ethan Lamar, thank you. He says the Bosnian Dragon will play valuable minutes for us this year. Those minutes tonight were valuable, right? I mean,
yeah, those are valuable for sure. I mean, game one, season one, he's on pace to play in every single game. These are valuable minutes.
He has 3 minutes, 2 turnovers. Now that I'm looking at this, actually, and a point. So, okay, there you go. I will say he's gotten better since he got to campus. And because I know right away when he got there, they were like, okay, this dude's way behind. He's very overweight. He can't move. Like, we're worried about him. And he's lost a lot of weight since he got to campus. And from the first time we saw him, which was, I guess, prime time at the Palace, would be the first time we actually saw him in person, to today, he is more explosive. I'm not saying he's an explosive player, but he was really laboring to have to like gather and get off the floor off of 2 feet and dunk a basketball. It's just what it was. And I watched him throughout warmups and everything today, and you can see a difference already.
The bag work is there.
Man. Yeah, he's working hard. So we'll see what it winds up being. I hope that he doesn't have to play a whole lot of valuable minutes for Arkansas this year, but you want to put somebody in there who's going to, annihilate a guy with a screen and get the most out of his 5 fouls and just be a huge body down there in the paint, then sure. Yeah, why not? Joshua Byers, there he is in the basketball chat. I love it, man. We appreciate it. He says, guys, great job. Glad for all Hog fans. We got this win. I long for when my 25-year-old son can be proud of the football team again. His age has had it rough. Well, one of these days, buddy. One of these days.
Yeah, as a 27-year-old, can confirm. And, I was into football, like, and people get into football, but, like, there's not many, like, 7th and 8th grade children who are, like, living and dying. Thankfully, when I was in 7th and 8th grade, I was living and dying with, like, Tyler Wilson and Ryan Mallett, so I was having a great time. But for most people my age, they didn't really get into Razorback football until, like, 2016, 2017. And so it's like, yeah, from that point on, it's been really brutal.
This is crazy. I was sorry. I was listening to what you were saying. I was also looking at John's message that he sent us. Did you see that?
Oh, John's message, which, by the way, yes. Do you want to talk about that real quick?
Yeah, let's talk about that.
I need to figure out what it necessarily means.
I'm trying to see what it is that he's. Anyway, Anthony Black had the TB playing with a real point guard thing there. That's just that's interesting. I don't even know that I can speak on this intelligently right now. So
he comments on some. I'm assuming it's a post about Trevon Brazile being awesome. Right. He comments underneath it, TB playing with a real point guard, and it's got like the emotional emoji where he's like proud to see it. Is that a shot at himself? Because is he joking maybe like on himself being like, oh, Trevon didn't have a real point guard when I was there? Or is he taking a shot at Boogie Fland? Or like, what is this?
Yeah, because what did AB get with him? Like 9 games?
Yeah, and by the way, they did cook.
They did. Yeah, they kind of did. There's no doubt about it. That's interesting. I have to look more into that. Filthy Tom says 109 points with a C+ game and no Carter Knox. Yeah. That is worthy of the 3 fire emojis right there, man. That's nasty work. As soon as I found out Carter wasn't playing, I felt great about. I just had him scoring under 89 because that was their low mark so far. Didn't matter.
Curtis, do you want some good news?
Matter. Sure.
Our boy Quinn is going to survive because Bethune-Cookman turned the ball over with 20 seconds left. And now Kevin Overton is going to the foul line with Auburn up 2 with 13 seconds remaining. So probably going to survive if he makes these at the line.
Keep your eye on it. You never know. Tamra, hope you're doing well. We've been thinking about you. She says, love this team. I expect us to keep improving, need better 3-point percentage. Free throw percentage was better. Like the dunks, we cut down on turnovers. We get a lot better. Wanted to win by 40 points. I wanted to win by 40 also. But no, I like all that. I'm good. If they're going to make 10 threes, I'm good with 35.7.
Yeah.
But the free throw percentage was awesome. I mean, 86.2, and you shot damn near 30 of them. Yeah, that's really good. With you on the dunks. I'm very pleased with the turnovers. It's one thing about Southern, and they got a lot of guys back, but they were top 20 in the country in turnover percentage and steal percentage last year. I don't know how, based on watching them there. Arkansas was just breaking that press very casually. It was no big deal. But still, only 9 turnovers is a good thing. I would have liked to seen it be a little bit more emphatic on the backboards. Only 45-37 there. It's just, I'm not concerned about it. Like, I'm not concerned about Arkansas as a rebounding team. I'm not. I just thought it was going to be a major strength. And now I'm not so sure. I think they're going to be fine rebounding, but I was sitting there looking at it thinking they might be one of the best rebounding teams in the SEC or whatever. And I don't know if I'm seeing that yet. And Pringle playing more helps. Like, he wound up with 8 rebounds. I need to see Malik Ewan getting after it on the defensive glass a little bit more. And maybe I'll feel better about that. But,
I think that's a good way to put it, that, like, if Arkansas winds up being an above average rebounding team, that'll be a little bit disappointing. You know what I mean? Where it's like, dang, we really thought it would be, like you said, a real something that you go into matchups being like, oh yeah, we should be able to out rebound this team by whatever, kind of like they did today. I'm with you. You need someone to light a fire under Malik Ewan's arse.
Yeah.
Just kind of get him a little bit tenacious.
He's so good. The dude is so skilled at his position. And I feel like there are just more opportunities to get him involved offensively. Some of it's on him. Like, he has to actually set the screens in the pick and roll and then roll with some purpose and get to his spots with some purpose. Because it's just a little bit too casual. And I think that's why he doesn't get some of his touches. I would like to see them run some more stuff for him to get him the ball in the short corner area or the high post or whatever, and let him face up and go to work a little bit more. But yeah, I feel like he's leaving a lot of meat on that bone in the getting after it department. And that was the big thing with him is everybody always knows how talented Malik Ewan is, and he's going to have some big games, but it was kind of a roller coaster ride at Florida State. And it's all about, if you can get that motor running hot with him consistently, the dude is dangerous. Like, he's an all SEC type of player, and it's going to be a little bit of a process there. I'm really anxious to see him in a big game on the road on Saturday, because that's when that competitive spirit can really kick in. So he might, you could look at it and be like, boy, if he doesn't give more effort than that, Arkansas is going to get crushed on the glass by Michigan State. Or maybe he's a big game guy and he tears those dudes up. That's also a possibility there. So
I do think there's something to, because I mean, Malik Ewan, it's worth noting, is coming off of being basically the best player on a really bad team.
Yeah.
Which is a just very different mental game, everything that he is going in each game with. It's a completely different mindset, everything. I think by the time about Christmas rolls around, I think he will have figured that out. I mean, dude, you remember Stanley Amude, who turned out to be one of the best transfers of this era of Arkansas basketball. He was another guy that was the best player on a really bad team, and he kind of needed to, like, get that out of his system the first couple months of the year. You could kind of tell it's, oh, wait a minute, you guys, like, cut and you guys, like, set screens, and oh wow, like we box out. It's like you kind of takes you a while to figure out. You got to do all those little things. That's what we do here at Real Programs. And we've seen this happen a lot with some of Arkansas's transfers, because frankly, a lot of Arkansas's transfers over the years have been players that were good on bad teams.
Yep. That is very true. It's very true. But he'll be all right. He'll be all right. Long way to go.
Curtis, I just have to update you because I'm just baffled by this.
I was getting ready to ask you if we have a final yet.
No.
No.
So Auburn, well, a few things happen. They play the foul game. Auburn ends up fouling a 3-point shooter with 1 second on the clock.
Nice.
He made the first free throw, and then Auburn took a timeout. So he just made the second, and so we'll see if he makes the third.
So is it a 1-point game, or are they?
I'm watching on the CBS. I'm not watching the game. I'm watching on like just the play-by-play refresher thing. We'll see if he ends up making this free throw or not.
I'm saying, would that free throw tie the game?
Oh no, yeah, he would be shooting a
Okay.
game-time free throw.
Gotcha.
With 1 second on the clock.
What the hell are they doing? Quinn, get your boys, man. What's going on here? Stephen Pearl, huh? The truth. Goodness gracious. Yeah, I absolutely have to hold out and see what happens here. I do want to play this clip actually, and then maybe the game will be over by then. But Cal, I guess he had some good words on Trevon Brazile at the free throw line, and Trevon did not shoot well from the free throw line last year, and he had some pretty consequential misses at different times throughout the course of the season and big games and everything. To see him go 8 of 10 in this game today, I think was a really, really positive sign. You want to be able to have a guy like that out there in crunch time because he's so valuable everywhere else. But if you're not gonna make any free throws, what are you gonna do? So anyway, I'll play this clip real quick and we'll hear what Cal had to say about TB at the stripe.
It's if he is an NBA player, it doesn't matter if you're old or young. You won't believe this. The NBA is not saying we want old guys. No. Are you good enough to be in that league? Then you got an opportunity. He looks the part. Now he's just got to keep doing it. If he can make free throws like that, believe me when I tell you, you know what they say? He can shoot. That was Carl Towns. Carl Towns shot 80-some%, 90% from the line. You know how many threes he took that year? About 3. But you know what they said? He can really shoot. So make 90% of your free throws. They'll say that kid, if he makes those, he can shoot. And then he's got to play through some bumps. He did a little bit of it today. But, again, he's gotten so much better. Billy's gotten better. Carter's gotten better. DJ's gotten.
Yeah, all the other guys have gotten better. I was told that the first half of the clip was really good about TB, and then he did the roll call thing, which is good.
Yeah.
I like that, though, and I will agree, actually, 100% with what Cal said. TB is he's stronger. He's more physical this year. He's showing some signs. But as soon as he stops getting bumped off of his spot on those drives a little bit more, he can take it to an even higher level. And he did shoot. He shot 3 threes in this game, and Carl Towns shot 3 in that entire season. As people hear that, not automatically they're like, "Oh, he's not letting TB shoot threes now. That's a big part of his game." No, he'll be fine there. But I understand what he's saying in terms of the translation and everything to the league.
Different era, and by the way,
yeah,
he is 100% right in that. Like, because I used to be obsessed with the NBA draft. That was like, and when I was in college, Curtis, I used to like literally just like make mock drafts of my own and crap like that. I loved it. And every draft guy I've ever talked to, they all say one of the easiest indicators of how a guy will progress as a 3-point shooter throughout his career is free throw. It just is a very good indicator of touch and just consistency. And so if you have a guy that's maybe 36, 37%, but he's shooting 59% at the free throw line, you're like, okay, that 36% is not going to carry over to the NBA. But if you have a guy that's shooting like Moses Moody, he shot 36, 37% at Arkansas from 3, but he was like 84% from free throw. It's a lot easier to look at a guy like that and be like, okay, yeah, that will project into something. And clearly the projection mattered with Carl Towns. He never says Anthony. Carl Towns, because he wasn't a shooter when he was younger. He's one of the best shooting big men on the planet right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he definitely is. Do we have overtime?
Yeah, we're going to overtime. Shout out to that kid. His name is Arterio Morris. Nailed 1 second.
You know who that is, don't you?
Line. What's up?
That was the kid who was he Texas? His first year, really good, and then he got in legal trouble. And then
really,
and then he signed at Kansas, something like that. And then
he wound up going college basketball since 2022.
Yeah, he got in some trouble. And now he's back. So, wow. Okay.
It's now 83-83 with 4 minutes left in overtime. So
what in the world, man? That's crazy. A couple more super chats here, and then we'll wrap it up, folks. And hey, I appreciate everybody for keeping us updated on that game too. That's That's wild. I'm very happy to not be in this position. Joshua Byers is back. He said, Andrew, I ruined him. He's talking about his kid. Says, I had him at Arkansas, Alabama 2010 game, 5 rows behind the bench. Kobe, Jarius, and Wingo signed his jersey. Now we live in Missouri, and it's hell. Josh, I lived in Missouri for like 15 years from college up until I got to move down here to Fayetteville. And there are certain parts of that state that are hell. So I get it, man.
Don't take accountability for that. You didn't do anything wrong, man. You did what you're supposed to do, man. I do.
Wear it.
I think about it all the time. Like I'm always miserable about Arkansas sports. So like, yeah, you did resign him to that. But like, I think back to the moments when I was a kid and my dad had me at the game and he would not let us leave if they were getting blown out. He would not let us leave. And he's like, no, we're going to stand down here and we're going to cheer for these Hogs because they deserve it, blah, blah, blah. And I think back, like that kind of stuff really shaped who I am and everything. And it's like, you're fighting the good fight. It's just unfortunate that, this fight is one that we lose all the time. But in basketball, it's great.
That's right. I think Quinn found his way to John's DMs. I don't know. Another super chat from Tamara. She says, Arkansas is so much better than 5th in the conference. Yeah, they sure look like it. I mean, if there are 4 or 5 teams in the SEC that are better than Arkansas, then it's a hell of a league again. You know what I mean? It's a hell of a league again. Yeah, I want to see him. I want to see him for sure. Just like the that list that came out. And if there are 97 players in the country that are better than Malik Thomas, I want to see him. I just don't think there are. You know. Anything else before we get out of here? There's part of me that just wants to wait around until this Auburn game is over because it's funny, but I got other stuff to do, and so do you. So it's up to you. I'll let you make the decision.
I mean, listen, I'm good to hang out. I don't have anything groundbreaking to say. This obviously isn't a game that you go into expecting to learn a whole lot about your team. And I don't think we learned anything about Arkansas, but it is just nice. There's something to be said about taking care of business. There's something to be said about covering the spread. And like we've, kind of covered and some people said in the chat, like, I thought this was kind of just a solid performance from Arkansas, but wasn't like they played with their hair on fire. And so I'm excited about Saturday, man. I'm not saying I'm like overly super confident. By the way, Michigan State won by 11 against Colgate. They did not cover their spread. So, keep an eye on that. Well, you say it was 80
How
to
much
60
did they score? Okay, so they can put the ball in the hoop. I was wondering about that a little bit. Yeah, man, it's a great opportunity for Arkansas. I really hope Carter's healthy. I really hope he's good for that game.
Okay, let's make a prediction right now on what the game spread will be. Knowing now you haven't seen Michigan State play, but knowing that they won by 11 against Colgate, who they were, by the way, 22.5-point favorites against. They're at home. Do you expect Arkansas to be favored by how much?
I don't think Arkansas will be favored.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
I think based on all the metrics and everything that we've seen, but from all these places that usually set these, that makes sense. But dude, if Andrew Ellis were setting the line, it would be like Arkansas -8.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, yeah, I don't think Arkansas is going to be favored. I think they're going to be 1.5, 2.5 dogs when it's all said and done. Let me pull it up real quick. So on Torvik right now, Arkansas is a 2.3-point dog at Michigan State. So that's right there. And then at KenPom, which is usually a pretty close barometer, Arkansas is 2-point dogs. Yeah.
Interesting. So that's probably a pretty good indicator of where the spread will at least start off at, and we'll see how much it moves. And maybe there's a little bit of an adjustment, overnight. I know the games are in, but like maybe there's, when KenPom hits the magic button at 2 a.m. and everybody updates. Yeah. I don't know, but yeah, that's interesting. I'll have to look into it, Curtis, but I'm like maybe suspiciously confident.
I am too. I really feel good about Arkansas's chances. I'd feel great about it if I knew Carter was full go.
Yeah.
And like I'm gonna trust what I was told that's gonna be the expectation, but there's 3 days of practice between now and then, so you never know.
Curtis, I've heard that when you're gonna take your like first true road test of the year, to have maybe your most well-rounded, consistent, and solid, and mentally focused player, it'd probably be ideal.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say so. Time will tell. Let's get out of here.
Yeah.
This is
I
a
don't
fun
have
one.
any final thoughts for you, Curtis, other than woo damn pig. And I meant to say this earlier, actually. The guy I was sitting next to, we were talking about kind of being, how we would assess Arkansas as a C+, they have won by 40, whatever. And he was explaining to his girl that he was with, because she was like, why are you annoyed? Like, they're winning. And he's like, we should be up 40 or whatever. I love seeing that. One, because I love that you're saying it. I'm saying it.
Yeah.
People in the chat are saying it. Guys at the stadium are saying it. That is the mentality that we have as a fan base, where we're happy, but we're not satisfied. Cal has the same mentality in the press conference. I just think that's a good omen. We're not disrespecting the basketball gods and being like, we got a great team, we're unbeatable. It's like we still got stuff to clean up, and I think that's fun. We got a little bit of time. It'll be my birthday, by the way, when Arkansas plays next. So looking forward to celebrating my birthday with a big fat 50-point dub in East Lansing.
That's big time. I like the way that sounds. And yeah, you're right, man. We're playing the long game here. Okay, this is not about Southern and beating them by 32 points tonight. There are bigger fish to fry and big goals. So yeah, a few things to clean up, and they're going to be just fine. And there's a big difference in last year after the opener saying, yeah, there's a few things they need to clean up after that Lipscomb performance versus tonight. There were some things they needed to clean up from that Lipscomb game to be good as a team, and it took them a while, man. This is worlds different of a situation. This is, a few things to clean up, and then I'm not sure if there's anybody out there that can beat them. That's how good I think this team can be. So looking forward to this game on Saturday, man. I can't wait for it. It can't get here soon enough. Perfect that it falls on a bye week. And we're looking forward to breaking it all down as we get a little bit closer to that time. But appreciate everybody for hanging out with us on this Monday night, where it's only 9:15. And this time a week ago, we were at the under 8 time out of the first half of that Memphis exhibition. So get some sleep and enjoy yourselves, and T's and P's to our man Quinn, and we'll see if Auburn's able to pull it out. But appreciate everybody for tuning in. As always, subscribe to the Inside Arkansas YouTube channel if you haven't done so already, and find us wherever you find your podcast, Apple, Spotify, you name it. We can be found there, and we can be found right back on this channel in multiple venues tomorrow. You can find the report card. You can find us for Inside Arkansas Live, Bombastic, Inside Arkansas football, Inside Arkansas recruiting. All those things are still rolling out there, and we'll see you guys then. So for Andrew Ellis, it's been Curtis Wilkerson. You guys enjoy the rest of your night. The Hogs are 1-0. That is a good thing. Puff your chest out. Peacock a little bit. It's all good. We'll see you guys next time.